Hello, I'm Red9 and welcome to another video. Today we'll be going over modding on the demo version of Cleanup Crew, which will be interesting. So we'll be going over how to install mods, how to start making them, and how to look at the game's code to help you make mods. So first what we're going to do is open up the game folder. You can see here we've got the game folder, and I've already got some modding things here. If I just remove these for now, you can see all the normal game files are here, and there's just my two projects here. Now, to first start modding it, you're going to need a tool called FNaF, which is a simple mod loader. I'll put all the links that I'll use in the description. You can see here it's a plugin modding framework for Unity games, and it supports Mono, which is what Cleanup Crew is made with. You can tell what a game's made with by looking in the data folder. If there's a managed folder, that means it's Mono, and if there's an IL2CPP folder, it means it's compiled with IL2CPP. So we're going to go on the releases page, and then click back and use 6.0 since I usually use this one and all my mods are made with this. If you scroll down, you can expand assets and get Unity Mono X64. That's the right one for this game. And you can download it to the game folder. Like that. And if I open this back up, I need to open up the zip file and extract this all into the game folder. And then you can delete the zip file after. This is not fully extracted. Let me try that again. There you go. So if I delete the zip file now, in the same game as the employee assessment.exe and crash handler, there should be new files called winhttp, doors.config, changelog, and bepanexer. These are all related to modding. If you want to uninstall all your mods, just delete these four files. Now to use mods, there's folders in here that will get created when you run the game. So if I start this now, give the game a second to load. Here it is. You can see the game loads up as normal. Then when you get to the loading screen, you can just Alt F4 it. And if you check in Definex, it should have created all of these files. Because only the core was here before, but now there's all of these. If you want to just install mods, you need to put the DLL files you get inside this plugins folder, and it should automatically load them as long as the files are in the right place. And what you can also do is go into the config folder and edit this config file. You can scroll down to logging.console here, and you can set enabled to true. And now if you launch the game again, it should pop up with a console window here. So you can watch what's happening inside the game. You can also see a bit of stuff here like VR, but you can ignore most errors such as save file or Odin serializer, because those aren't really necessary for modding. You can just see it still loads as normal. Now that's how to use mods. Now if you want to make mods, it gets a little bit more complicated. What you want to do is go into your preferred IDE. I like to use Rider, but you can use Visual Studio if you want. And you can see this is an example mod I made here, which just renders all loaded mods to the screen. what you'll want to do is close any open projects, and you want to create a new project. And I've got FNX templates installed. You can find them in another link in the description. So what you want to do is give it a name, such as cleanup crew example mod. And if you just click create, it should do everything. You can see we've got all these files here. Now the plugin.cs file is where all of the main stuff happens. For this tutorial, I assume you're familiar with C# already in Unity, because that's teaching you C# a bit beyond the scope of this. But you can see this looks like a normal Unity mono behavior, and even Rider recognize it as a Unity function. Because this Unity plugin class just extends from mono behavior. You can see it's filled in some information. You can go into this class here and change anything you want here. You can see it's auto-filled from the name. Oh, there's a little error here. It's a little weird. I can just ignore that. Now, what you need to do now is find the folder you put your mod in, which is here. And then you can create a new folder and call it libraries. Now you need to, if you go into the game folder again, you need to copy some files from the game. So if you go into the game folder, then BepInEx, then core, these are all of the internal BepInEx files which you use for loading mods. So you'll want to copy BepInEx.unity, BepInEx.core, and Zero Harmony. You can also use the ones provided by the NuGet package built into the project, but I prefer to copy them manually because this way I know what's being used here. So I can paste those in. Then if you go back into the game folder, you need to go into the game data folder, managed, and you can see these are all the actual libraries used in the game. So if you need to get unityengine.dll, unityengine.coremodule.dll, and assembly C#.dll. And it might be useful to have the first pass as well. And if you can copy these and paste them in again. And those are all the libraries you'll need. Now to include them in the project, you can go into Rider or whatever ID you're using. Then in the project here, you can right click on Add Reference and click on Add From. Of course, this will be a bit different for whatever ID you're using, but there should be a way you can add references, or you can look online if you need to. Then if you go into your mod folder, go into libraries, and select all of these files and click open. You should add them. You can see there are a couple of different errors now. That's just because there's conflicting names. For example, this is a bit different because of the libraries. So you can go into the NuGet window and remove the FNaF packages. If I just remove these. I'm not going to delete that one because that has all of this information in it. And that should, I'll delete that one as well. It's already copied the Unity libraries. Alright, now that's done. There's a couple of things here, so you can delete that one. Now the libraries are installed, we can start actually working on the mod. So what you do from now really depends on what you're trying to make, but a lot of, in fact, probably all mods are going to use this thing called Harmony. It's a library for C# that lets you patch any method, including game code. So you can run custom code before the method, after it, when it throws an exception, or you can even rewrite the whole method using IL code. So I'll just show you the basics of that, and then you can read up on the documentation, which is linked in the description as well, to see what else you can do. So if I pull up the game code in my assembly viewer, let me just find it. Libraries, and assembly C# is where all the game code is stored. So you want to open that up. You can see there's a bunch of namespaces here. For example, easy save 3, which is what's used for save data. There's this Kino, which is a glitch effect, there's pathfinding. But all of the main code that the developer writes is stored in here, the root namespace. You can see there's all of this code here. So let's say we want to mess with, let's have a look. Base game, so there's a game data field here. There's a lot of data here. There's nothing really we can do to that, so let's just ignore that. We could have a look at the pause menu and what's here. We could make it so that you can never pause the game. So to do that, we'd want to patch the pause method here. And we can do that by specifying the class name, which is ccpause, and method name, which is pause. So you want to make a harmony patch attribute, and it should automatically add the namespace to the top here. You want to create a harmony patch, you want to specify the type of ccpause, and if you added the references to the library properly, it should autocomplete and show up here. Otherwise you might have to try fixing it. Then after that, you need to put the method name, as it says here, which is just pause. And after this, you need to add a class, call it pause patch. It depends what you want to call it. It's all up to you, your decisions. Then there's a couple different types of patch methods. Two of the most useful are prefix and postfixes, which run before and after the method respectively. So if I were to make a prefix on this method, my code would be stuck in between the start of the method and this first bit of code. If I was to do a postfix, it would run after this last bit of code. So I want to add a prefix so I can just skip the whole rest of the method. So I'll do that by adding a harmony, if I can spell, a harmony prefix attribute. I want a public static void method called prefix no pause. I like to keep the class and method names descriptive so you know what they do. And then we can just do that. Now to skip a method, you need to make the patch return a boolean. For most other cases it will return void because all of the processing would happen inside the game method. So the way Harmony method skipping works is to continue the original method, you return true, saying, yes, I do want to continue, but to stop it, you just return false. You can see Ryder here complains that I haven't used this method, but Harmony does know that it's meant to be used. So I can leave that, and before you run the mod, there's one thing. On its own, this will do nothing, because you're never telling Harmony to patch all your code. So you need to create a new Harmony instance, and you can pass this your mod's GUID, which is a unique identifier. This is done so Harmony can manage what mods patch different code and stop and let you run your patches relative to those. So you can say that your patches should only be run before a different mod. So make sure to keep this unique to your specific mod, not make it the same as anything else. Then you can run harmony.patchAll, which will search your mod file for any patch classes here and automatically patch them all. You can also do this manually for each specific method, but that will be covered in documentation, which is linked below. So now you've done this, this mod should be ready to go. I like to switch it to release build here. And just wait for that to do it. There you go. And this is a thing that's different for every game, but you'll need to change what you're targeting in your project. Because this targets net 35, which is slightly newer than what the game uses. The demo uses net 2.1, which is here, net standard 2.1. And when you set that, you can click OK and click on build. If you click run, it doesn't let you. It won't do anything because Unity is not open. And if it was, it wouldn't have the game in it to run. You can see build succeeded. If you get an error message saying it can't find a bunch of types, then that means that you've used the wrong target version, so you have to do that. Fix that again. Now you should be able to go into the mod folder, bin release net standard 2.1, and you can copy the example mod.dll here into the game folder, FNX plugins. If you paste that in, you should be able to start the game and see in the console that your example mod, your example mod has loaded. You can see that's the same as what got put in the lock message here. Now to test out the Harmony patch, just wait for the game to load up properly. Give it a second. Oh, that's there's no other errors here, maybe it's just being slow. Right, I'll try restarting it. Wait for the game to load again. Also, while waiting for the game to load up, I do want to say something about modding. If you make any mods for the demo version of the game, you will have to manually port them to the as I was saying, if you make any mods for the demo version of the game, this one, you will have to manually port them over to the full game when it eventually releases, because it will be compiled with IL2CPP, which is a different Unity script system, and as such, mods aren't compatible between them. So I like to clearly separate my demo mods from my full game mods if I make any. You can see if I start playing the game now, after it loads again. I'm not sure why it crashed the first time, probably just the demo effect. Alright, come on, load please. So many loading screens. Right, the game is loaded now. You can see if I'm pressing escape to pause it, nothing happens. So for now, I want to use a bit of extra time just to show you some cool mods. Because this doesn't really do anything apart from stop you pausing the game, which isn't very useful. So I have a couple of mods here that I've made. So, like the mod stamp, which is this one, and skeleton key, which I'll show you. Don't actually put them in the game folder to use them. I'm just putting them here to keep them together. You need to put them in FNaF plugins still. Now if I launch the game again, here's the game. I can make a mod to skip all the wrong loading screens. You can see here, there's a little, under the version number, there's a little message here saying I've made this mod, and currently there is these two mods loaded, mod stamp and the skeleton key. That's what the first mod does. And the second one, I'll show you when the game loads up, because that one's fun to mess around with. Already. Alright, loaded. Here it is. Let's turn the volume down again. You can see I can actually pause now and remove that other mod. So this is the starting room here. What you're normally meant to do is open this door and go through. But there's another door at the back here, which doesn't do anything, because that's permanently locked. But with the skeleton key mod I installed, I can press the U button on my keyboard and have every loaded door open at once, including locked ones. You can see behind this one is just a wall, but that's not always the case. There's some doors that still have stuff behind them. You can see this one here, there's just a void. You can actually see down to the bottom, but you can't go through it though, which is a shame. You can see it also unlocks them now as well, so you can open them and close them at will. Same with this one, you can't go through it, but you can see through. And this is where you're meant to go. You can see these doors are open. And these ones are interesting because if you look out of here, you can see that little area there, which is a later game area that you're meant to go through after you've gone through a bit of this. And with these ones, you can jump out and jump into the void and soft lock yourself. This is a special door because you can see here, that's the corner of the vents that you go through later. And if you position yourself just right, you can pick up the flashlights early and turn it on before you're meant to. You can just see the vents there. I haven't found a way to get into the vents early, but I know you can do that, which is funny. Oh yeah, and the mod opens all vent doors as well as normal doors. You can see that that moves down already. But if you're quick enough, you can unlock the door and go back out and see the game deload around you, which I think's funny. In fact, let me try doing that now. Give this game a second. Now I'm gonna see what happens now. If you manually open the door and jump out before the room starts going down after you hit the trigger. It was pretty funny. It's always fun breaking games the way they're not meant to be played. Because you get to see all the hidden secrets and everything. See, if I go through here now, just spam the U button. As soon as I go into here, the door closes. If I open it with my mod, you can see that the entire world just deloads, and I fall down to the ground, into the void. Right, and that's all we've got for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.